Thank you for tuning in to Inside Taiwan. I'm Melvin Tam. During a celebratory banquet for the new economic cooperation agreement between Taiwan and New Zealand, President Ma Ying-jeou said the economic cooperation framework agreement signed with China 3 years ago laid the groundwork for the signing of the agreement with New Zealand, which is not one of Taiwan's diplomatic allies. That the agreement was signed, meanwhile, clearly shows how cross-strait relations have improved.
Senior government officials, including President Ma Ying-jeou, Premier Jiang Yihua, and Legislative Yuan President Wang Jingping celebrated the signing of the new economic cooperation agreement with New Zealand's representative to Taiwan, Stephen Payton. Many diplomatic envoys and industry representatives were also in attendance. During his address, Ma said the economic cooperation framework agreement signed with China 3 years ago paved the way for the agreement with New Zealand, which is not one of Taiwan's diplomatic allies. Furthermore, ECFA has also expanded Taiwan's international reach and participation as cross-strait relations have improved. According to Payton, the agreement has special significance and is a source of pride for both nations. New Zealand's government will therefore work with the parliament to promulgate the agreement as quickly as possible. Wang has pledged to do the same with Taiwan's legislature.
Prior to the Kuomintang chairmanship election on July 20th, incumbent chairperson Ma Ying-jeou met with voters in Taipei. In attendance were new Taipei City Mayor Eric Chu, Taipei Mayor Hao Longbing, and Taichung Mayor Jason Hu. During his speech, Ma said that as president and chairperson, he has accomplished several achievements that his predecessors were unable to do, as he was tearing after saying that.
In an effort to stump for votes ahead of July 20th Kuomintang chairmanship election, Ma Ying-jeou met with voters in Taipei on the night of July 16th. On hand to support the incumbent chairperson were new Taipei City Mayor Eric Chu, Taipei Mayor Hao Longbing, and Taichung Mayor Jason Hu. Although Chu and Hao have had their differences with Ma over issues such as the future of the fourth nuclear power plant, both used this opportunity to appeal to voters to re-elect Ma. Meanwhile, Hu said that although some voters have expressed their intent to cast blank votes in protest of Ma, the percentage of votes received will affect the KMT's performance in next year's municipal elections and the presidential election in 2016. He therefore urged party members to cast ballots. During the event, Ma also listed his achievements, saying that he always has the nation's best interest in mind. He added that he has achieved several accomplishments that his predecessors were unable to do, eliciting shouts of encouragement from party members.
July 17th is Taiwan Lifeline Day, and 1995 Taiwan Lifeline International released its call statistics for the previous year. Suicide is a difficult issue for everyone. Over 150,000 people use the service. The total calls have reached 165,000 with an average of 400 calls per day. Faced with an ever-increasing number of calls for assistance, the organization is also encountering difficulties finding an adequate number of volunteers.
News of suicide is a common occurrence. Just a few days ago in Taichung, a grandmother was unable to deal with the physical and mental stress of caring for a new granddaughter. She left a suicide note, tied her 3-month-old granddaughter to her chest, and jumped out of a 5-story building. According to Taiwan Lifeline International, suicides by the elderly are a growing problem, which receives little in the way of assistance. July 17th is Taiwan Lifeline Day. On that day, 1995 Taiwan Lifeline International also made public its statistics from last year. Last year, the hotline assisted over 150,000 people and received a total of 160,000 calls with an average of 400 per day. The number of people seeking assistance continues to rise, but the organization is having difficulty finding sufficient volunteers. At present, there are 23 Lifeline centers in Taiwan with more than 50 phone lines. Evening is the peak period. Not only are all the lines busy, but the telephone answering rate is only 60%. On many of the lines that aren't answered are precious lives that go without help. Volunteers need 10 months of training and take a year to develop, so the organization has appealed for people who are willing to join their Lifeline ranks and help people who need it.
5 Far East University students have designed a new kidnapping prevention stroller cushion equipped with a weight sensor and buzzer. The team's patent was recently purchased by a manufacturer, which hopes to have the cushion on the market by the end of the year.
This past March, a woman in Taiwan nearly lost her child to a kidnapper while buying breakfast. With the number of kidnappings on the rise in recent years, a Far East University team has developed a kidnapping prevention stroller cushion equipped with a weight sensor and buzzer. The team has already received a patent for its invention. The cushion's initial weight sensor can gauge up to 4 kilograms of weight, which is the average weight of a 3-month-old child. Seeing potential in the invention, a manufacturer recently purchased the patent from the team and is now working to further upgrade the cushion's functions. According to the manufacturer, the cushion can not only prevent kidnappings, but also allow parents to monitor the movements of children. The manufacturer intends to sell the cushion for around 1,000 NT dollars per unit and hopes to have it available on the market by the end of the year.
Rabies has resurfaced in Taiwan after an absence of over half a century. The Council of Agriculture has confirmed that the virus was discovered in several ferret badgers found dead in Nantou and Yunlin, and that it will report cases to the World Organization for Animal Health. As such, Taiwan has dropped off the list of the 10 countries and regions that are rabies-free.
Rabies has resurfaced in Taiwan after half a century, but not in dogs or bats. Instead, the virus was found in 3 wild ferret badgers. National Taiwan University veterinary professor Victor Fei Pang and his research team had originally tested the animals for the viral disease canine distemper, but the test came back negative. They then decided to test for rabies, and the test unexpectedly came back positive. The Council of Agriculture also conducted 4 types of tests to confirm the diagnosis. During a press conference attended by experts, the COA confirmed the presence of the virus and said it would notify the World Organization for Animal Health immediately. These cases mean that Taiwan drops off the list of countries and regions that are rabies-free, leaving only 10 countries and regions. 3 of the 6 ferret badgers at NTU School of Veterinary Medicine have tested positive for rabies. 2 were found in Nantou and the other in Yunlin. Meanwhile, former Centers for Disease Control Deputy Director General Shi Wenyi has said that the COA may have sat on information about the return of rabies for a year. Pang responded that because the reemergence of rabies was unexpected, at present there is not enough information to determine whether there is an epidemic. As the fatality rate of rabies is nearly 100%, the CDC reminds the public to be cautious and to avoid wild animals. The Bureau of Animal and Plant Health Inspection and Quarantine has already stockpiled 600,000 doses of anti-rabies vaccines to administer to domestic animals.
Young people love to play video games on their computers and cell phones, while they also do so even more during the summer. Ophthalmologists, however, have found that more and more young people are suffering macular edema caused by eye overuse. This causes visual acuity to degrade rapidly. If not treated, it can even lead to blindness.
With their eyes staring fiercely at the screens, young people play games and use the internet on their smartphones. The phenomenon intensifies in the summer when their usage increases and they can play as long as they want. In Kaohsiung City, a 15-year-old high school student sought emergency medical treatment for eye strain, watery eyes, and dark circles around her eyes. The doctor found that she had macular edema caused by cell phone overuse. Ophthalmologists note that the age people use cell phones and other technology is decreasing. This is exacerbated by the amount of time the products are used and how close to the eyes they are held. Last month, many patients under the age of 40 were found to be suffering from central serous chorioretinopathy, causing vision loss. Although vision can be restored with treatment and recuperation, doctors say that if habits aren't changed, relapses can occur and possibly lead to blindness. Doctors say you should wear sunglasses when going outside. Mobile phone usage and brightness levels should be reduced, and users should take a 10-minute break from their cell phones every half hour. Young people are warned to take particularly good care of their eyes in order to avoid a long-term vicious cycle with disastrous consequences.
The Centers for Disease Control has announced 2 new cases of enterovirus infections. And one of the cases involves an infant that was infected with echovirus 30 just 4 days after birth. The infant is now in intensive care after developing acute septicemia. Pregnant women and families with small children are urged to be extra cautious.
The Centers for Disease Control has reported 2 new cases of enterovirus infections, including a 5-year-old boy that was infected with enterovirus 71 and a 4-day-old boy that was infected with echovirus 30. The latter developed septicemia as a result of the infection and is being treated in the neonatal intensive care unit. According to the CDC, the mother of the newborn developed a fever after delivery but has tested negative for enterovirus. Therefore, the infant is believed to have been infected by a family member. Echovirus 30 does not necessarily exhibit with ulcers in the oral cavity, blisters on the arms and legs, or other symptoms associated with enterovirus. In infants, the virus can attack the brain and has a fatality rate of over 40%. The CDC says echovirus 30 cases have rarely been reported in infants, with the last reported case occurring in a pair of newborn twin boys in 2001. One of the twins died while the other survived. Pregnant women and families with children under the age of 5 should wash hands often and practice good hygiene habits to lower the risk of infection.
Liang Dexing, a resident of Miaoli's Tofen Township, began undergoing dialysis at the age of 37 due to kidney failure. In the beginning, he was extremely depressed, but then he decided to face his illness with courage. Now, 26 years later, he not only travels everywhere after retirement, but also encourages other dialysis patients to remain optimistic.
Liang Dexing shares his knowledge and experiences from 26 years of dialysis treatment. At the age of 37, he was diagnosed with kidney failure, and doctors told him he would need dialysis for the rest of his life. The news left Liang depressed, as he had 2 young daughters who were about to start school, and he didn't know how his family would bear the economic burden. After 1.5 years in the state, Liang decided to accept his fate. He says those with illnesses need to be optimistic, as there are so many things to look forward to in life. Therefore, they should never give up. He applied this positive attitude to his treatment over the next 26 years, and even continued working on supporting his family at the same time. Doctors say that dialysis patients can lead normal lives as long as they receive regular treatment, monitor their diets, spend time outdoors, and maintain a positive attitude. Liang agrees, and now he uses his experiences to encourage fellow dialysis patients.
Double-income families often have overweight children. On Wednesday, a survey was released showing that 70% of children from double-income families are overweight, which can lead to problems with cardiovascular and metabolic diseases, or possibly even cancer. Parents need to focus their attention particularly to reduce children's intake of sugary drinks.
Golden brown fried pork chops and braised pork rice. These kinds of takeout meals are convenient, but they may be helping modern parents who have no time to cook raise overweight kids. The Formosa Cancer Foundation on Wednesday released a survey that found up to 70% of the children of double-income families are overweight. Half of the parents only prepared meals that were quick and easy and allowed their children to drink sugary drinks, which can lead to obesity. The survey also found that most parents did not know how many calories children need to be healthy. Doctors warn that overweight children have a 1 in 3 chance as adults of suffering from cancer or diseases that affect the cardiovascular, metabolic, or digestive systems. Doctors say that even busy parents can take advantage of their days off to cook food at home and reduce the amount of takeout food their children eat. If parents must rely on takeout food, they should increase the proportion of fruits and vegetables. Parents should also not use snacks as rewards, which can lead to food addiction and health problems.
这是一个台湾从来没有人从事过的工作。 我们生活的这些美的部分呢，用袖珍的方式把它留下来，真的是很有意义的一件事情。其实我在从事袖珍的时候，我哪一样懂？我什么都不懂哎，就是从失败里面获取丰富的经验。事情要解决没有那么难，是你要不要做而已。这就是我的迷你世界。
来到幸福农庄，就是实践拥抱大地的心愿。幸福农庄是一个温馨的生活小站，但是它更大的魅力是这里拥有一片广大的稻田。农庄的女主人说，因为女儿的病，才考虑由都市搬迁到乡下，过着务农的生活。但是这样的决定却带来让人惊喜的收获。现在他们更把这样的生活心得分享出来，推荐给大家。
现在已经是做了10年吧。那不过呢，一开始是从女儿的生病，可是越做越了解到农业或者吃的东西，环境对人的健康非常有大的关系，所以我就觉得这个是我一定要做的事情。人类吃得很干净、很健康的东西，当然会健康嘛。那健康的东西是怎么来的？是健康的土地，所以我们跟土地要多多学习。
今天的男主角呢，请女主角问最后一个问题。
第一次约会，那你们会想要做什么呢？
我们可以开车，享受驾驭感；我们可以骑车，享受速度；我们可以散步，享受浪漫感。
Welcome back to Inside Taiwan. I'm Melvin Tam. The agricultural losses as a result of Typhoon Sulik are approaching 1 billion NT dollars. Miaoli County was particularly hard hit with losses of more than 216 million NT dollars. Up to 80% of the Asian pear, persimmon, and date crops were lost during the extreme weather, which should result in a price increase of 25% compared to last year.
This year's dates are particularly large and sweet, but the numbers have dropped dramatically compared to last year. In April and May, the crops received too much rain, and a few days ago they were hit by the rages of Typhoon Sulik. The major crop losses will result in an increase in price from 120 NT dollars to 150 NT dollars per caddy, or an increase of 25%. According to Council of Agricultural Statistics, as of July 15th, Miaoli agricultural losses reached 216 million NT dollars, with Taichung City, Ilan, and Miaoli counties receiving the necessary level to receive cash assistance. Out of all the crops destroyed, the worst hit were pears, persimmons, bananas, and rice. The Council of Agriculture will offer low-interest loans for farmers in cities and counties that do not qualify for subsidies.
To better acquaint the younger generation with the farm villages, the Soil and Water Conservation Bureau recently organized a farm village competition for university students. 20 teams comprised of 170 university students registered for the competition, which was held at the Longyanling community in Zhongliao Township. Using creativity and innovation, the students breathed new life into the traditional farming community.
According to students, the competition organized by the Soil and Water Conservation Bureau allowed them to discover just how much farm villages are suffering from the absence of younger residents. The students saw many elderly farmers across Nantou that know how to plant and harvest crops, but not the slightest idea of how to sell their produce. 20 teams comprised of a total of 170 students therefore flexed their creative muscles and designed packaging for the agricultural products. The program is in its third year this year, with many of last year's participants returning to share their experiences. The students say they hope their studies will allow them to better understand local culture and perhaps create a brand to help these elderly farmers. According to the SWCB, the program allows students to benefit and modernize farm villages with their strength, creativity, and different areas of expertise.
During the summer, many children in remote areas have no access to libraries. This, coupled with economic hardship at home, can make it difficult for them to find books to read. The Digital Opportunity Center of Hualien worked together with some of Taiwan's major bookstores to create a mobile library with more than 8,000 books. The library's first stop is the Bunong tribe in Zhuoxi Township of Hualien County. The children treat the library's arrival as if it were Santa Claus and swarm the library van.
Over the past few days, the children of the Bunong tribe in Zhuoxi Township in Hualien County have been spending their mornings excitedly awaiting the arrival of the mobile library. As the library arrives, the kids swarm the van. There's no need to pay, and every child can pick out a book to read. In order to reduce the gap between urban and rural areas, remote areas have to make up for a serious lack of educational resources. The Digital Opportunity Center of Hualien worked together with some of Taiwan's major bookstores to create a mobile library with 1,300 books. During the summer, the library is bound for remote mountainous areas without access to libraries. Most of the books in the mobile library have been donated by caring people from around the country and include scientific journals, inspirational celebrity biographies, comic books, and novels suitable for young readers. The mobile library is deeply appreciated by townships in remote areas, and so can only stay in Zhuoxi until July 21st. It will continue on to other Hualien County locations and continue to service children.
The Suhua Highway Improvement Project to improve road safety began in 2011 and is scheduled to be completed by 2017. Recently, the first ever female tunnel supervisor joined the construction team, breaking the tradition.
Each morning, explosives are set off at the northern end of Guanyin Tunnel to pave the way for reconstruction work that is part of the Suhua Highway Improvement Project. Among the workers at the site is Ye Yayun, the first ever female tunnel supervisor in Taiwan. She rushes around the tunnel, carefully gauging the distance between steel reinforcing bars, ensuring that the number and order of the bars are correct. A local folk superstition holds that the presence of females in tunnels angers the mountain gods, but Ye doesn't care. She is willing to break with tradition and smash superstitions. Ye, who holds a degree from National Taiwan University's Department of Civil Engineering, has also gained the respect of her colleagues. The improvement project is scheduled to be completed in 2017.
Houston Rockets point guard Jeremy Lin will be returning to Taiwan next month. A number of NBA stars are also visiting the island this month. The Oklahoma City Thunder's Kevin Durant took part in an online chat with fans on July 16th and also attended an event in Taipei later in the day.
Currently on a promotional tour, Oklahoma City Thunder star Kevin Durant left Shanghai and arrived in Taipei early on the morning of July 16th. Durant, whose last trip to Taiwan was 4 years ago, was noticeably fatigued during the press conference, but said his impression of Taiwan has been positive. Asked whether his development over the past 4 years is evidence of his success as a player, Durant replied yes without hesitation. Following the press conference, Durant took part in an online chat with fans. After concluding his stay in Taiwan, Durant will fly back to the United States aboard a private jet.
Irrigation canals can often be seen in rural areas, and some are flat and are designed to supply water for irrigation in the uneven farmland. The Taiwan Taidong Irrigation Association this month began construction of a very different kind of canal in the Ruilong village of Luye Township. The floating canal Fuzhen is especially designed to allow local animals to pass through, and the shape resembles the sticky rice bridge. Local farmers expect this canal to become an eco-tourism attraction for the village.
In order to adapt to the uneven terrain of the farmland, the Taiwan Taidong Irrigation Association has designed a kind of elevated aqueduct to transport water for farms. From low-lying farmland, the aqueduct looks like it's floating in the air. It is known as Fuzun. Early canal design made it resemble a barrier wall. It had irrigation capabilities, but it was not pretty and blocked animals from passing through. In order to improve the design, the designers combined aesthetics and ecology. The Taiwan Taidong Irrigation Association began work this month on the project in Ruilong village of Luye Township. A 1-kilometer-long section of the canal is being renovated and raised by 2 meters so that it will look similar to the Sticky Rice Bridge. The water will flow on top of the structures while the arches below allow animals to pass unobstructed. The new structure is both pleasing to the eye and the ecology. Local residents say the new Fuzun looks like a small version of the Great Wall of China and hope that when it is completed, it will become an ecotourism attraction for the village.
在高雄，有一群人想要凸显和表现台湾当代丰富的色彩美学。他们以老旧厂房为基地，创作出无数属于台湾的本土创作。
现在的艺术很多都是数位化的，那回归到说艺术创作的本质，应该是谈人的手感跟人对图像跟这个色彩的这个看法。后来决定说，那我们自己来盖一间房子来画图这样子。所以就在我们白屋这边有60位艺术家一起来这边创作。我们那个房子盖起来，大家觉得说有点像台湾盖一间庙的样子。一个地方的人大家一起来，然后共同去谈自己相信的价值，那图像表现这样。所以结束了之后，大家就想说，那我们应该到其他地方去画这样子。那很多人会觉得说，你以为这个地方上的人会看得懂吗？其实没那么严肃了哈。图像是很直接的，就像色彩很直接一样，它那个图像就会跟他们生活产生直接的对话。我们没有官方资源，但是可以聚集了100多位艺术家，然后共同参与这一个有点像绕境的活动，就是全台湾这样，让大家觉得说，哎，台湾其实存在这样子多元的可能性跟能量。
新台湾壁画队尝试寻找以及诠释当代艺术的精神文明，而这也是台湾生命力的表征。相信在这群人的努力之下，台湾艺术将更上一层楼。
您好，我是致富密码的主持人张秀曼。您喜欢吃吐司吗？现在市面上有很多的鲜奶吐司哦，这种不加水啊，完全用鲜奶做的。但你知道它的创始店就是位于宜兰苏澳的义珍香，他们一条60块的鲜奶吐司不加水，它的原料和手工成为老店致富的镇店之宝。致富密码将邀请义珍香的店长来分享他们转型热卖的经验。
Welcome back, and that's all the time we have for today's Inside Taiwan. I'm Melvin Tan, and welcome back again tomorrow for more. Thank you for tuning in. See you tomorrow.